In this lesson, we're going to talk about dashboards. Now, dashboards are a graphical display of information across multiple different systems, and generally, we're going to use a dashboard inside of our Security Operations Center as part of a single pane of glass architecture. Now, a single pane of glass essentially means I'm going to have one screen in front of me as an analyst, and I can access everything across the organization from that one panel. And when I'm looking at that one panel, I need to be able to have a dashboard so I can see exactly what's going on of all of the different systems across the network and across the world. For example, one of the most popular tools to create one of these interactive style dashboards is a tool known as Splunk. Splunk is a big data platform that allows the ingestion of all sorts of different kinds of data, including security data, incident response data, and other data like that. When we have a tool like Splunk, it can collect data from your firewalls, your applications, your endpoints, your operating systems, your intrusion detection systems, your intrusion prevention systems, your antivirus software, your networks, and all of this data can get rolled up into this big data platform. And then creating a dashboard will allow you to see the trends over time, and then you can take actions based on those trends. For example, if we take a look at a sample dashboard from Splunk, you can see here that this shows my basic security posture of the network. In this case, we can see that there are access notables going down. It's actually 3 less than it was previously. We can see the endpoint notables going up by 22, bringing us to a total count of 2,000. And that's red because it's something bad and we want to look at. We also see network notables going down, which means our network is getting more secure. And we see identity notables going down, which tells us we're actually doing a better job of protecting the privacy of our organization. We also have things like infections from our antivirus. And you can see this went up by 1. So this was a red or negative trend. And then we also have our threat notables going up by 60, which means there were 60 more attacks this week than there was last week. Additionally, you can look down at different graphs and you can see things like how is the status of your vulnerability scanning. And then if we move down the page, we can see 2 different graphs. On the left side, we have our notable events occurrence by urgency. And you'll notice that these are basically the same urgency that we talk about in vulnerability scanning. We have unknown, informational, low, medium, high, and critical. And our goal is to get the criticals down as low as possible, and we can allow things like informational or lows to be a little bit higher. In this network, we can see that the urgency of critical is actually only 10 things. But if we go into our mediums, highs, or criticals, we're looking somewhere between 800 and 2,000 in terms of the amount of notable events for each of those criticality levels. So, as an executive, I would be looking at this and going, okay, we have a very large network and only 10 criticals, which is great. But we also need to look at those 10 criticals and see how we can get them down to 0. The other thing we have is on the right-hand side, we can see the trends over time. Here we can see that over the last 24 hours, we had, on average, the threat was around 100 counts. There were some things that were higher and some were lower. As you can see in the last hour or so, at the time of this dashboard, we see a spike of red going up, which is the endpoint area, which is showing that we went from the 100, which was kind of our baseline, up to 1,000. So this sounds like we're actually under attack in terms of our endpoints, and we'd want to figure out why that is and what's going on there. Now with all of these, because you're dealing with a dashboard, you can actually click on it and drill down into it. When you look at something in the bottom right, for example, we can see the top notable event occurrence by host, and we can see that the top host there, which is at IP address 10.1.21.153, has quite a few spikes there, which means we actually had 7 different counts that were occurring. So we want to go and look at that machine. If I clicked on that, it would actually drill into that and show me all the different data points we've collected from all of the different systems so we can analyze those. Now, we're not going to cover those in this particular lesson because all those other data points are going to be specific to the dashboard you're using. But in this lesson, I just wanted to show you how you can read some of these graphs and get an idea of are things going better for you or are things going worse, and how you can use a dashboard to drill down and use that as your central single pane of glass as your starting point as you begin your investigation as you're trying to respond to an incident response.